Welcome to Danger Aware Animation Department. This video is animating for Pollen Picker, an upcoming game for Danger Aware. So we start with a new untitled document. We import a Moho object, the flower. So next flower, number 19, or the one I'm going to start with is number 19. We may do more layers, levels later, but the programmer and I set it up from the beginning to have 19 layers, 19 levels. So this flower is the hydrangea something or other, so hydrangea. So we're going to import the hydrangea flower, and we only want the colored version, and we'll click OK. It's already got all of its bones, and we've got the pollen falling out just like that. So now what we're going to do is bring in Rojobi. So we import the latest version of Rojobi. It's a Moho object, and we go to Rojobi, and it's the latest version, number 15 right now. And again, we're just going to bring him in. And I brought him in way over there. We're going to grab his layer and bring him where we need him. And he's way too big. Let's bring him down to set his normal size. So we'll put him next to the flower, and we'll make his normal size about right about there. I think should be fine. That's way too big for the flower, of course, but we're cartoon. So now we bring him on over, and we get him close to the edge, and we're ready to go to frame 1. And we need to decide what is he going to do. So I'm going to have him come in, fly around the top flower once, and come around the full time, then come across these this way, and then land over here, push the flowers, grab all 3 of them up high, I guess, and try to shake all 3 of them at once. Well, 2 of them. These 2 are on one stem, so he only needs to grab these 2 stems. So maybe I'll bring him where he can get a hold of both stems from behind. So then he'll shake the flower, the pollen will fall, then he'll come out and fly off this direction. And he'll come towards us, so as he does so. And there we go. So now we need to make a group over here, and group with selection. And that group is going to be our scene. Alright, so now we go into the scene, double click, and go to depth sort and enable animated layer order, and hit apply. So now we can move these back and forth during animation. Layer 1 we don't need, so we're just going to delete it. We're in the scene, and you can see Rojo's up here, but when we choose Rojo, he has his own layer, and when we choose the flower, it has its own layer and its own bones. Alright, so let's imagine we want that flower moving in the wind. Okay, so we're gonna, instead of starting with Rojo, I'm gonna start with the flower. We're gonna go to position 1. We've got the flower where it's gonna be, and we're just going to grab all the bones. So hit B, grab all those bones, and then T for transform, and just click one of them. You don't have to move it, just click one. Those bones are now all set for their static position. We could have also just gone up here and hit reset, 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 and that accomplishes the same thing. And of course we want to go to the final frame and do the exact same thing here. We want to have our animation be a loop so that the flower's in the same position at the end as it is at the beginning. Excuse me. So there we got the flower set up. Now, we want it grazing in the wind a bit. Now there's a number of ways we can do that. Moho has a lot of bone constraint controls I could get into and allow wind control, but we're not going to do that on these videos. These are just 10-second videos. We're just going to do it manually. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the bone controller. We're going to go into, we've already got one and the final one set. So let's go to 48 and we're just going to move the bottom just a couple of points this way. The same with this one. Just a couple of points this way. They don't have to move the same amount. And in fact, they don't even have to move at the same time. So let's jump to 72. And on the bigger one, we're going to move the top of it on over a little bit. And then we're going to start moving the other one back. So actually, we don't need to do anything. We're going to jump to 96. And now we're going to move the other one back. And we could just go up to this tool and hit reset to bring it back to static, so we know that that's the actual place where it started. And now we want it to bend a little bit beyond that, so we just give it a couple of points this way. And then this one, we're not going to move it yet. We're going to jump over here, and now we start moving this one, or we move this one on over. So this one's going to come back this way. And again, if we hit reset on angle, we know exactly where it starts off. So see, if I move this a lot, I hit reset, it takes it back. So we know this is our static position. So we're going to move this on over just a bit, not too much. Right there. And then let it just play it out. Let's see what that does. So we back out and we'll see, does that move the flowers much? Oh, I've got this going to 2000. We're only working at 240. So we've got 10 seconds of play. So let's now play that. There we go. And so now we stop at 240. So I put my static position at the end at 2000. So we need to put it at 240. So I'm just going to hit reset, reset, reset. So now we've got it. So we can play it out. So the flower moves, sways in the wind, moves with a little bit of growth. Plants constantly move while they're growing. But you see how when it got to the end, it jumped around. So we need to make it so that the animation flows from one position to the other. So see, it's jumping. I don't know why it's jumping. Let's go to the beginning. Hit 1. Oh, I didn't reset all the bones. I only reset one bone. That's why. Alright. So we're going to just grab all those. Hit reset. 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 Go to the last frame and reset. 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 Now it's reset. So now we can select no bones about it, and hit play. So now we've got our flower swaying in the wind, and it's moving a little bit more at the beginning than the end. Yeah, see there? So it's coming from the right to the left. So here, maybe we should have it going to the left. Now because we've reset everything, we don't need to worry about, oh, we're changing this, because it's already reset here. It's going to return to that reset position and then replay the beginning. Look at that. That was pretty smooth. So now the flower, if we let this 10 seconds just continue to play, there's no jerkiness between the end and the beginning. And that's what we're looking for. The reason we're looking for that is because when we do play this in a loop, we want people to keep watching 20 and 30 seconds, you know, before they go, oh, it's actually just repeating. Because in that 30 seconds, they're going to capture different things happening. And so now we've got the flowers moving, but you know what? It seems a little static still to me. So I want it to do a little more. So let's go to 48, where we're making our changes for the flowers. And we're just going to try to keep those changes happening at that point, at those various points that we did. So we're just going to move this leaf there a little bit. I'm going to move this leaf there a little bit, move this leaf there a little bit, and move this leaf here a little bit. And I've even rigged it so we can move little portions of the flower moving in the wind, because these are not a solid structure as they appear. So only on this one flower can you do that. So now we're going to jump ahead and we'll just move these a little more. Doesn't matter which way or whether it's logical or not. Wind currents and eddies always move things in different directions. So we'll just move these leaves a little bit again. That was a lot. And we don't want to move them much, you know. We just want to make it seem like there's life happening. And so again, we've already reset all these bones, so it doesn't matter that when we get here that we move them again, because they're still going to return to their proper position. So and just do that with these. And now let's see what that looks like. So it looks like we have a problem with this stem here on this leaf. Oh, it's the stem on the leaf. Looks like I missed adding a point to the bone assignment. So we're gonna stop, go to the construction layer, choose that stem right there. Then we're going to choose B for bone, and then I, and let's see what was not happening here. At this point here is not attached, so we're going to bind it. And so now when we move the flower in our animation, that stem looks proper. Alright, so we've got our plant moving in its natural state. Okay, so it's a bit extreme, but we are making a cartoon. It is an animation, so it can be a little bit extreme on the movement. I think the bottom leaf can move a little more. So let's stop right. Let's see here at 96, and we'll just bring that bone. Oh, I'm not on the plant. So now I can grab that bone and we can now move it just down a little more here. There we go. That should do it. So do you see the white here happening at the edge of the leaf? That's because Moho is trying to conserve memory. It is pushing the detail of the animation out because we're looking at the bone movement. So if I zoom in, it'll bring that into clearness because it knows, well, I've zoomed in on the flower or on this leaf. I must be wanting to see the detail of that leaf. So now you can see it's rendering the leaf at the high quality. All right. So if I zoom back out though, you can see it drops it out. Same on every other part of the animation. You can't judge the final look of the animation by what's happening when you're working on it, because it's going to change its detail to the final high quality when it renders the animation as a video or as a series of images, as we do with this. All right, so now we've got our flower doing its normal thing. So we're going to start from normal, and then we're going to bring in Rojobi. All right, so now we bring Rojobi in, and we're going to start at layer 1, and we're going to change his size down to a little bitty thing. And we're going to bring him up into this corner. And we'll start him right there. Setting him up for flight. So we're going to rotate his body this way. Rotate his abdomen out that way. Rotate his legs around his abdomen. Rotate his arms around his thorax portion. So they're both all thorax. Then we're going to bring these arms to look like he's moving this direction. So we just redo the arms and basically reverse what they were on each one of them, but it's not critical either way you want to do it. If you want to do it by reversing the bone, you can do it that way as well, but I prefer to just bring these on around to like this, and now I've got exactly what I want him to be doing. So there's his arm. We'll bring this one up like this, and in the beginning he's not pushing on anything, so he should have everything folded up pretty much while he's flying. When a bug flies, they make their body streamline so that they can cut down on wind resistance. So he would bring his leg up like this and over like that and bring his foot down. So now we've got him positioned the right way. We've got the legs doing the right things. We bring this one on up and bring this one on back. So now he's in flight mode, and we can even tilt him on down that way. We can rotate his head. Whoops, I'm doing the mouth. We can rotate his head. And again, don't worry about the distortion. It's just part of what Moho does when you're working with characters that are outside of the camera frame. So as it comes into the camera and gets to the center, it becomes more and less distorted. All right, so we're starting him there, and then he's going to fly into the frame. Whoops, I accidentally pushed the right button and I got a green thing there. I do not know what happened. Let's Control Z to back out of whatever I did there. I think I just moved everything. All right, so we're going to choose Rojo B's frame, his layer. So make sure we're on the layer over here. We can close that flower up now. And he's going to come in at 72. I'm thinking that's 3 seconds in. We've got 10 seconds. So maybe we'll bring it in at 2 seconds. So we're going to bring him in for 2 seconds, and he's going to fly behind the flower. So up until right here, the flower should be in front. So let's go ahead and put that there. And let's start at 1 and make sure the flower is in front. There we go. So now when he flies in behind the flower. So at 72 now, we're going to grab Rojo B, and he's going to be getting closer to the flower. So he's going to get bigger as he comes around. And at this point, we're going to put him in front of the flower. And I'm going to turn him around, but not right now. I'm just going to go ahead and start moving where he's going to go. So he's going to fly around the flower this way. And then he's going to go up a little bit. And then fly around the flower again to here. Now at this point, so wait, now he should be in front of the flower. So let's go, okay, he's in front and he's behind. Very good. So he starts off behind the flower. He comes in, he gets bigger as he comes in. He zips around the flower. Oh, so right here, he needs to be in front of the flower. So 48, we want Rojo B on top. On top means in front. So now he flies in front of the flower, and then he goes behind the flower. So this should be behind right here. So right at 84, we will put him back behind the flower. It's easier to move the flower above Rojo than it is to move Rojo below the flower. So now we go back. We now should be in front of the flower, or behind the flower again, sorry. So there he is, he's going behind the flower. And now, let's say he grabs a hold of this stem as he comes by. Alright? So, from right here, he would still be in flight mode, and all of his body parts would be right where they're at. So let's just go with B for bone, and grab all these bones, hit T to transform, and then just click on any one of those bones. So now he is set at this position. So we can go bone again like this. Now, the next frame, we want him to be reaching out. So actually, let's get him over to the flower, and he's gonna go past the flower, and at this point, he will have grabbed the flower. So let's grab his arm out. I need to use the manipulate bone tool. So at this point, we're going to pull his arm out, and he will have grabbed that flower. So we're going to make his hand be a palm facing us. There we go. So we'll grab that flower, and right about here, he'll let go of it. All right? So, and we'll assume that it took both hands to grab that flower. All right? And he's behind the flower, and that's perfect. So we'll just show him with the stem in hand right here. So now that means we need to move the flower to that point. So let's grab the flower, and we need to back up to the moment when he grabs it. So let's back it up, and we can see he grabs it right here. So at this point, we want to set these bones so that they're not moving. And then we're going to bring him over here to where he lets it go. So let's say he pulls, and right here he's going to let it go. Now, if we choose Rojo B, we can see his bones. So I would say we want him to be pulling with his arms. So from here, we want to set his arms at the stem, and the flower will already be moving, so don't worry about that. But then when he gets to here, he will have been pulling in on that stem. All right, so he's pulling in to get as much tension on it as possible. So now if we let this go, we can see that it brings his arm out and grabs the stem and pulls in, and then we can let it go. And then right here, we just return all of his bones to the way they were in flight mode way back here. No, yeah, so, oh well, anyway. So we're just gonna bring his arm back around where it belongs, and this arm back around where it belongs. And then when he comes out from behind the leaf, he will have moved into the right position. So here we come. He grabs the stem right here. Boom. He starts stretching it to right there. That's where he releases it. This is the last contact with the plant. So now we grab the hydrangea, and we grab the bone here. And let's just make this things easier on us. We're going to find this leaf, and for the moment we're just going to make it invisible. So now we can see what Rojo is doing to the plant. So now we go back to the hydrangea. We grab the control for the bones, and we can now bring the bone on over so that the plant is all the way in his hands, as far as we can get it anyway. So we can't do it from there. We got to come down here and drag this on over, and we just want to barely see his fingers sticking out. So just like that. So there's the point at which he releases the flower, and then he goes away, but the flower is just following its own normal path. So what we want to do is grab these bones and reset. Whoops, I didn't get them all. Okay, bone, and just grab these bones, and then we're going to just reset them. So on their angle, boom. So that flings the flower back into place. But I've moved ahead a ways, so it's not going to be instant. So let's test it out. So he comes across, he grabs it. So it looks like it starts moving before he gets there. Yeah, I messed it up. So I forgot that at this point, it should be in his hand. So I moved it already. I should have set it before he grabbed it. I thought I did, but apparently I missed it. So we're going to grab a single bone. And the plant should have been right here at this point. And he first grabs it at the top. We're not worried about him missing on the bottom at the moment. He'll pick that up as he goes. So let's see here. Flays in, grabs it. That's much better. So let's do that again. Perfect. So now we can continue on, and the flower returned to its normal place and then continued to move in the wind because we set all that to begin with. Now, I think that needs a little bit more motion, so after we reset, okay, so right here we reset, so let's go halfway to the next point, and we're just going to make it go springing a little bit too far. All right, so just these two right there. So now let's watch and see what that does. So now so the flower pulls, then springs back. I think it should spring back a little quicker. So let's bring this closer to here. And then try that. I think that's okay. Looks like a good spring back. And maybe a little further. Okay, so let's bring this in a little closer. So now springs, and let's go ahead and do a little reverberation. Back this way. Swing out. Back to, oops, reset. I grabbed too many things there, so. Try that. So now we should get a little of like a springing effect where he pulls it, boom, there we go. Yeah, so it's, I don't know why that one piece of pollen, I think though that one piece of pollen is connected to a bone down here where the other four are connected to a bone up here. So that's why you can see that one pollen piece drifting. It's just associated with a different bone than the rest of them. So there we go. So I like that springiness. Let's see, comes in. Alright, so now we want him to fly around to the bottom. Alright, so from here, let's see, we'll start at 144. So we'll turn him around at this point. So let's go to Rojo B. And let's have him just move down a little as he makes his turn. So now he's going to turn and he's going to be in front of the flower. He's going to get larger because he is coming towards us. And then he's going to fly down. Let's go ahead and come across the flower because he'd be looking at the flowers as he comes across them. Remember, we got to think like a bee. And then moving forward a little more. So we're running out of time. We really should be at the ground at this point. So let's go ahead and bring him down to the ground. And then we'll go back. And halfway between, we'll just drag him up over this way. And there, let's see what, let's go back a little more. Maybe he can, yeah, I think I'm just taking too much time from here to there. That should be real soon. So, layer, here we go. So, this should be moved to here. And let's see what that does. So he comes down, he turns around, he swims across, or flies across, comes down to ground here. He goes up to the plant at 180. So at this point, we're going to want him standing and properly at the plant, so we'll bring him up. We'll rotate his, well, we won't rotate his body, his torso, but we'll change the angle of his torso here. So we'll get him to standing up, and right before this, he will have his legs all the way up. So let's go to 174. And we're just going to set the legs. Just clicking on them. We're going to set them so that they're at this position. Alright, and then here, he's going to start putting them down. So, we'll go to right there. He's got his feet down to grab the ground. Alright, and so now we can grab his layer and place him, oops, let's go ahead and go here to place him. So place him where his feet will end up touching the ground right there. Alright, so 186. We've got him touching the ground. We'll put the ground, imaginary ground, right where the red line is here, above the actual physical ground. So just imagine it's there. And then we want to bring him all the way over. So he's grabbing the plant, but his arms will be out. So we're going to grab his arms. Oops. Grab his arms and have him reach out. But we need to go back and make sure his arms are not moving. Yeah, so we already set his arms earlier, so I think that would work, yeah. So we're going to reach out, grab the plant, and put his thumb out, and stretch his fingers wide to get a good grip. He's going to reach out with the other arm here, and let's rotate it so the thumb is on top. Both of these hands. So there we go. Now we need to spread those the other direction. So we spread these out. And then the arms on the back, we can see the bones here. We're going to bring them up. And we don't want it to look like he's on this side with all those fingers. And we don't want to have to go to the trouble of trying to put it behind the actual plant. So we're just going to fold the fingers down to right at the edge. Not going to bring them all the way in. We need to be so that they look like they're gone. So if you want to zoom in close, it's the easiest way to do this. So we bring those fingers right like that. It's hard to do. The farther away you get, the easier it is to be pinpointed. So now we've got that, and we can now tilt the palm of the hand as if it's grabbing it like this. And because it's too close, we don't want to move everything. We're just going to shorten the palm. So we grab this and we can shorten it just like that. In fact, let's shorten it a little more, and that way we can show it like the thumb is grasping the plant. So now we can bring this in a little closer like that. And now we put the hand right at the edge of the plant just like that, and now it looks like the thumb is coming in to grasp the plant there. So we do the same thing with the other arm. Just bring it on over here like this, rotate it, shut down the fingers, and bring the arm into the right position to reach around the plant, and we need to shrink the palm so that it can actually look like the hand is grasping behind the plant. So we bring this on over like this, tilt that just a bit, and bring, whoops, wrong finger. Bring the thumb on down like he's grasping. And these here, a little more natural looking on the hands there. So now he's grabbing a hold of the plant. We don't need to follow the plant step by step. We just need to go, okay, where do we want him to do with it? So let's say he's going to push this so hard that he's going to also grab and push this one once it hits this one. So let's go to 192 and let's move the hydrangea. So we're going to move the first part into the second. So we bring the first plant into the second one, and at that point it's going to grab the other one and then continue on and push this one on over too. So we'll move his arms to push that one out as if he slips off of this one. And this one doesn't move far enough. We can change the bone constraints. So we'll just make it a little bit bigger. So minus 15 to 15. And that's degrees of movement. So now we can move this 3 more degrees. So at this point, now it's as far over as it'll go there. So there we go. So he's got the plant pushed all the way over. So now we need to go to Rojo and move him to that position. We do not need to do all these points in between. If we do, we're adding more memory to the program and causing it to have to work harder. So we go to Rojo B, and we're going to grab his layer, and we're going to just move him on over to where he is well into pushing the plant. So maybe even to right there. All right. So now at this point, well, let's go like that, right there, and check his feet. I think I moved his feet up a little bit, so we'll keep those down. So at this point, we push those arms out as if they're pushing on this second part more than the first part, but these are still on the first part, and we want them to be in about the same place they were. So we bring these on back, and if you have to, rotate the back layered arm first to bring this on around. And then this is what onion skins are for. Now we can turn on onion skins right here at 186, I think. Oh, I have to enable onion skins. There. So when you can turn on the onion skins right here, so we can see that for him to have advanced to here, this leg started way back there. So we need to put his toe pushing off from there because he's pushing against the ground. And this leg as well. We want to bring it on up and put it to where it's pushing off at that location. So why are these onion skins moving? Because we're allowing the computer to calculate all these motions. We're just needing to get them extremely close. It does not have to be exact. But we do want the toe to pushing off, so we can bend this foot like this to get that like it is. So why is it changing? Because we didn't set these bones beforehand. So let's go back to 186, and now we grab those bones and hit T, and then just click on one of them. So now we've set the bones. So now we can do B for bone, and we can set this foot and set that layer foot level like it's supposed to be. Whoops. Make that level like it's supposed to be with the ground. And now we can see where our toe really needs to be because we've actually set it. That's why it's no longer moving on us, because we set it before trying to move it here at 186. So now we're going to go 198, and you can see, okay, now I can see where that needs to be. So we bring this up, and he's going to be putting force. So let's make that toe push against the ground, you know. So bring his foot like that. Put some pressure on there. And so now he should look like he's moving properly. So now we've got into this position, so you can see he's pushing off the ground. Push. Now they are coming too far down, so we need to fix that. So from here to here, they're coming too far down, not because we didn't set the feet, but because the legs are moving and the computer's allowing the legs to do their own. So if we go to the halfway point where they're too low and simply bring them up, we can turn the onion skin on too to make sure we match exactly where it should be. So we put that there, and then we do the same here. We bring this leg up until it's just touching where it should be right there. So we didn't do all the points in between, we went halfway between. So now let's check it out. So he puts his feet down, pushes off, and he's pushing hard, and he's getting a better grip with the right one, right there. So again, this is from the leg moving, which is pushing the foot down. So if we turn on the onion skin here, we can see that we need to bring this foot up to there, and this leg to right there, so that the foot is in the same point all the way through the contact. Boom, and now he's going to jump into the air and take off, and that's all going to spring back. As you can see, it already is on its own, and we're going to do a little bit more springiness than that. So he gets to here. So right here we want his hands all perfectly in the right place. So we're going to bend this one. In fact, let's turn on the onion skin. It's not going to help us because the plant has moved. But as you can see, it looks like we're going in the right place anyway. Yeah. So we can turn that onion skin off. So we're going to just put the palm there and then put this one here. Whoops. And then drag this back just a bit. And there we go. So now the next frame in, boom. Oh, we should have been working on this frame. So we'll just move this stuff over. And then we correct for the tiny little bit of airspace we got. So there we go. So now he's got that one and this one. All right, so At this point, he lets go, and they should spring back hard. The big one more than the little one. So we're going to grab these bones, and at this point, the big one's going to spring back on him. Go about to there, and the little one's going to spring back to about there. And then to here, they will have recovered and overcompensated. And then to here, we'll reset them. Just the angle. And jump halfway between there and the end, and we want them to just continue slightly the same direction they had been going, and then they're going to reverse and go back to normal. So there we go. Let's check it out. Flies in and around, grabs, lets go, comes down, lands, pushes, and as you can see, everything's working great. Alright, so now we just need to animate Rojo Bee at the push. So we get down to here. So he pushes and lets go. So when he lets go, we need to bring his arms in. He's done. He's going to bring this arm down, this arm up, and this arm, whoops. This, you can't get the right bone. This bone down. So he'll be like that. Same with this. We rotate it down, then up, then bring the wrist down. So that's all going to happen in just one motion. So let's see how that looks. It might be too extreme, but no. So let's move it one more frame out. So grab those two. There, let's try that. Looks about the same really, but he does go to a halfway point before drawing them in. So he drops them down and then in. And again, we're letting the computer do that. We're not worried about it. All right, so he's going to continue on. So at this point, he will fly off into the sky. Don't take him too far. And then at 240, we'll have him fly off the screen, and we'll want him really, really big right as he exits so that we're getting his face right here, and then he's gone. All right, and let's play it out and see how it works in our camera view. Oh, I made him grow long before I should have. I didn't set his growth size. And so we're going to stop at the flower. Boom. And let's see, at 180. Here he's pushing, and then he takes off. So when he takes off, right here he should be his normal scale. Oops, wrong code, wrong reset. So reset his scale. There we go. So at this point, now he takes off and flies towards us. There we go. Alright, so I think that works. So now we need to go in and do the fine tuning on what Rojo Bee is doing. So we need to turn him around and all kinds of things. So we're going to start right up here. So let's start by changing his expression. So first of all, he's searching, so his antenna should be kind of at attention like this. So we'll bring these on around like that. And then his eyes should be wide open or close to wide open. Whoops, wrong tool. So we'll get his eyes open. And we want his eyes moving around as he's flying. So we'll have them looking over here to begin with. And then we'll jump him ahead to here. And we'll say, okay, well, he's been moving his eyes, looking around, looking up and down. Whoops, that's the size. So he's looking down. Jump 36. At 36, he's hidden. But we can go ahead and just change his eye position because they will be moving up to this point. So he's looking over at the flower. He swims by or flies by the flower. So as he passes the flower, he should be looking back at it. So we want to move his pupils down and left more as if he's looking at this flower. So there he comes away from the flower, and now he's going to turn around. So before he turns around, he's going to bring his eyes to normal. Just bring them to straight ahead, and they don't need to be open anything more than just about halfway. So bring that down like that. He's found the flower with pollen. He's tested it by dragging it. But let's bring his antenna down a little bit, and let's change his facial expression. We'll just make it a little more serious. It doesn't have to frown, but let's not make it so much smiley. And so at this point, he's going to stand up, but before he stands up, we want to make sure that he stays in the flight mode up until about right here. So grab B for bone, grab these bones, hit T for transform, just click on one of them, and now it's set. Now grab B for bone, grab no bones, move him forward in the timeline. We'll put him to 48, and at this point he will have uprighted himself, rotated his abdomen to the other side, moved his head around to look this direction, and his legs, we need to fix that bone being rotated, so we're going to rotate this one and then bring it down to the proper position, which is this bone here. And that's all happening while he's turning around. We also want to straighten his torso out, like he's coming straight towards us for a bit, and bring his legs around that same way. So now he's there, and he's going to fly forward. So now we should put him down into full flight mode. So we rotate these around like this, rotate this out like this, and we'll just turn his head to look around a bit as he's going, and we want to move his eyes, then move him to the next position. And you can see he's getting pretty distorted because we reset everything at the end. So he's going to always constantly try to return to that end state for us, and for any state we've set in between. So now he continues, and okay, so he's going to be flying this way, so we need to actually turn him around. So I should not have turned him here. There we go. What I should have done is brought his abdomen around because he's changing directions again. Okay, so now we move forward, and he's going to fly behind the flower, grab it, spring it, come on around, and then right here he's going down. So at this point, first of all, he's a little bigger because he's coming towards us. So we're going to make him a little bigger. And then we're going to go ahead and rotate everything because he would have been rotating as he came down. So we're going to grab the bone, so B for bone, and T to transform, or Z to manipulate, yeah. And we're going to grab this and we're going to straighten him up. We're going to bring his abdomen straight behind him. And we're going to straighten up all these limbs so that he's flying like this, so that he's got everything pretty well streamlined for his flight. You can manipulate multiple bones at once, it's just pretty difficult. So we'll bring this down like this, and this up like this, and bring that down like that. So, and I think he'd stick his feet downward a little, like that. So there we've got him coming around to straight flight. Then he's going to move downward and head the other direction. So right here, we want to go ahead and turn his head the other way. He's also going to be turning his eyes that direction. He might open his eyes a bit more. He might tilt his head back to take a look up at the flower. And he's going to tilt this direction to change his direction of flight. So let's give his head a little more tilt. Let's throw his abdomen that direction. Doesn't have to go all the way, so we just start going that way with it. And we'll start rotating his torso this way and his lower area. Just like that. And now he's going to continue his flight. And let's go ahead and tilt him on down into full flight mode now. And he'd bring his head over like this. His eyes would come to normal position, but maybe raised up to see ahead of him. There we go. And he flies on over. And then here, he reverses direction again. So right here, we're just going to rotate his arms this way. Rotate his bottom like this direction. Not too much. And we'll bring his abdomen over, and we'll bring his body and his head this way. Oops, I grabbed his hand there. There we go. And we're going to turn his head this direction. So now we continue. And let's see how the whole thing works. So I messed up his leg there somehow. Oh, because I reversed things. So right before he hits the ground, I need to reset everything to normal. Okay, so whoops. Go back. So he comes down. 168. He's bottoming out, so let's Control Z. Go back one step. There, we'll bring him up to there. And so what's happening is this one leg is pointing in the wrong direction. So we'll go B for bone. We're going to grab this. And you can see these two little marks on it are showing that we've got it reversed. So we simply need to put it back to normal. And the other leg is, so now it should continue where he steps down. And we rotated the hips. So now the feet are no longer touching the ground where they should. And so let's go ahead and bring that on over like that and rotate these hips about like that. Let's see what that does. And he's still too low. I don't know why he's so low. Oh, because I changed his size. He's not the right size here, I don't think. Let's see. He grabs the, yeah, he's missing the plant now. So, where he grabs the plant, right there, he should be that size. Yeah, see, he was changing to the bigger size from after the flight. So right there, and see, he's already starting to grow right here, and we don't want that. He should still be his perfect size there. So it looks like I put him too low at the last step. So let's bring him up. Alright, so let's play it out and see how that looks. Alright, so that's pretty much all we need, except now we can bring the pollen down. So he shakes it, and the moment after he shakes it, the pollen will start to fall. So the moment before he shakes it, or before he releases it, let's go back to right there. So we want to set the pollen, so grab the bone control, and we're going to set the pollen to be all the way in the flower. And then at, let's go 223, we'll have had it all fall down. Alright. There we go. So that's probably good enough like that, just like that. I could go with that and not do anything more. But we need to go back and turn on that leaf that we turned off earlier. There we go. So now let's check out everything. So he comes in, he flies around, goes back behind it, grabs it, comes around behind, and then flies away in front. I think that's good. Danger Aware has a new and important mission to change the paradigm of abuse awareness through play and entertainment. We need help to accomplish our goals. We need stories that will entertain and will teach personal rights and how to call out abuse in the earliest stage. We need music, jokes, poems, and ideas of things that we can use to help educate the young and vulnerable. We need stories of triumph over abuse to inspire others in the correct ways to call out the precursors to abuse. If we expose the grooming, we can prevent the abuse. You can also help us through donations on our website, dangeraware.org. Or you can help finance our expansion into Colorado by visiting coloradogives.org/dangeraware. Or you can use paypal.me/dangeraware. Or you can visit our website and scroll down and use the PayPal Donate Now button. We also offer Danger Aware merchandise. Just visit dangeraware.org and click on the Respect My Personal Space notebook. That will allow you to then launch our Teespring store where you can buy Respect My Personal Space apparel. So if we explore, you can also get pillows with Solarian Talar on them, face masks, notebooks, sweatshirts, digital coloring book, and Respect My Personal Space apparel. So if you want to change the paradigm of abuse awareness, visit dangeraware.org. Play our game. So the only thing I see happening that, makes it stand out is that the pollen is showing back up instantly. So I'm thinking let's go to the beginning. Not going to take me that long. So at 1, I want all of these pollens to be tiny. Oh, it's going the wrong way. Alright, so Control Z. Before you change the pollen, so let's start with pollen number 1, which we're on. We're going to set the center of it in the center of the pollen. And it just makes things easier to change their size. So I want the pollen to be tiny. So pollen 2, O for origin. Set the origin on the actual piece of pollen. And then hit T, and we're just going to shrink this pollen down. So we select it and shrink it to very tiny. Alright, then number 3, wherever it is, up here. So O for origin, set the origin, T, and then shrink it down. Oh, grab the edge and then shrink it down. 4, origin, T, select the edge, shrink it. Pollen 5, T, grab it, hit the origin, set the origin, then T, then shrink it. Pollen 6, O for origin, set it in the center, T, grab the edge, shrink it down. Pollen 7, O for origin, hit the center, T, click the edge, shrink it to fit. Maybe move it where you want it. Pollen 8, T, O, T, edge, shrink. Reposition. Oops. Pollen 9. So O for origin, T, shrink it down, and put it back where it belongs. And pollen 10. O for origin, T for transform, shrink its size, and put it back where it belongs. So then we're going to jump ahead to 24, and we want to go into each of those and hit reset. Since they were the last objects I was touching, and they are all in the right places, it's easy to reset them. So now all our pollen should be back to normal. Yeah. And so now when we play the animation, pollen falls and then grows back. Hope you caught that you can see the pollen growing into place. And there we go. I think that's fine. And you can tell that we didn't have to put very many dots in the animation timeline for either the flower or the character. That keeps the amount of memory down so that it animates quickly and finishes. So we're going to save this. And this is Pollen Picker. So Pollen Picker, and this is a new folder, and this is Pollen Picker level 19. And we're going here, and what are we naming them? Let's go back to look at 3. So we'll grab the name there. Just click it once. Don't click it more than once or you mess things up. So Pollen Picker and then to level 19. And then I just come down here and change the 3 to 19. And we save it and we're good to go. So there's a few pieces of pollen getting hung out. Let's go ahead and correct those. So, stop it here. We're going to jump to this level. And the problem is that piece of pollen is not associated on the construction layer to the right bone. So let's go here. Alright, so pollen 9 we need to associate with this bone instead of the bone over there. So that's the problem. Alright, so check it. Alright, so that's much better. And I think this bottom row flower here is moving too much before he grabs it. So let's go right up to where he grabs it. Okay, looks like I took it too far. It's not pushing that one enough now. Let's go back and push. So let's go step back. Alright, now the final step would be to do the wing flapping. So, we start at cell 1, and we go into Rojo, and I think every 4 frames is the best way to do this, and because he's flying with his up like this on his side, these wings need to come up and on the other side, so we're going to use the wing control, not that one, on the other side. And use this wing control to control his wings flapping. So, at 1, his wings will be down. We'll advance him 4 frames, and then it'll be up. Advance him 4 frames, and then down. And so we just continue to do that. We can now copy that because we have 4 flaps here. So we can go Control Copy and then click at each point where we want to add more. And now I can just grab that whole line and Control Copy, move to the new position, and paste. And we simply continue that to the end of our animation, which is at 240. So here. And so now we can watch him fly instead of swim. So let's hit play. Alright, so that's working good up to a point. Alright, so I don't know if you caught it, but right here, he needs to turn his wings to the other direction. So from right there on, we'll take those 4 out anyway. And now it's the other side, so this has to return to neutral. You know you've got it when you've got both wings showing. Right there. Okay. So now we need to bring the wings up and back in front. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, then down. And this should be neutralized. Then up. Then down. And then he will transition to using the wings. There. And yeah, he's still flapping this way. So as you can see, we can now play the video out, and we should do a little fine tuning on the face maybe. So like here we can, let's bring his antenna up like he's interested in something or getting ready to do something here, and we'll close his lips so it's more like he's concentrating on it. And then when he flies out, we want him smiling. So let's get around to right here, and let's go back, and he'll start smiling right there. So let's move this frown to a smile. And then we'll make it a bigger smile with the lips open a little, and a bigger smile, and he'll bring his eyes down to look at whoever's in the audience there. And let's tilt his head up, and we'll bring his antennas back down. And we'll bring this leg up, and bring this leg up, and voila. Remember, we're only looking at what happens inside the camera lens. So that looks good. I think that'll work. So we're good to go. We're now ready to output the file. I don't see anything we really need to do more than this. It's simple, it's quick, and as you can see, it didn't take a whole lot of keyframes in order to make it work. There's a frame, every frame gets made. The computer fills in for every frame, but we only need to put in keyframes in order to make things happen. We don't have to put a recorded activity at every point. Doing so simply slows everything down, makes it extremely hard to get anything produced. So there you go. Have a great day. I hope this helps.
Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that lives next door. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that you adore. Watch for the things that cause alarm. Watch for the one that would do you harm. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that lives next door. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that you adore. Please be alert and be aware of all the dangers anywhere. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that lives next door. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that you adore. Stand your Danger, danger, could be a stranger.